Okay. Good. All right, here we go, folks. We are live in 3 minutes. 3 minutes on this Monday. The news is really remarkable. No question. We are live. Do I see Lynn Miller? Is it possible that I'm seeing Lynn Miller? It is. There's Linda. Miguel is with us. I don't know. The money is flying in for Harris. There's Angie. Good afternoon. There's Kathy. Folks, remember you can always type in someone's name. Yep. And that will alert them that we are live. This is the Real News at Noon. There's Marcus. There's Kurt. Hola. Yes, that is exactly right. All right, we are going live in just a moment. Folks, I'm not going to, I am open. We had someone on the page posting this morning that Hillary will be the nominee. Now, the only thing about that is I just wonder where someone gets their information from. Yes, thank you. And then that's number one. Thank you, Bendy. And then number two, Hillary has endorsed Kamala Harris. So I just wonder where do people come out with something like that? And I think it's fair to ask, and again, I'm not if people are going to take the time to post their thoughts on these things, I then wonder, where is this coming from? Am I missing something here? Like, where is this that and more importantly, why? Why would Hillary then be why would she endorse Kamala Harris if she plans on challenging her? So I don't know, but Raimondo's all in. Raimondo, Gene is all in. But we'll talk about that. We're going to be live in just a moment. Live in just a moment on this Monday. We are waiting for the go ahead. And, all right, folks, and one moment. For some reason, hold on. I don't know why. No, I know that. All right, bear with me. The video part is fine. Suddenly, we have run into a problem, and I think we should be good now. Okay, there we go, and we are live at 12:06. JR, I don't know what it was. It suddenly just froze up. We'll monitor, but I think we are good to go. Yep. Folks, good afternoon on what has been really a remarkable stretch of news the past couple of weeks. As you know, you're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380, 99.9 FM on this Monday, July 22nd. And the news continues to be fast and furious. This is the Real News at Noon. And again, you can listen AM 1380, 99.9 FM. You can watch. Yes, you can watch. Some people are. Although, for whatever reason, we're having a minor problem. I don't know why that is cutting out. So I'm going to the video portion is fine. I'm not sure why this keeps cutting out. So everybody that's watching video wise, just bear with me for just a moment as I'm going to I want to encourage JR to then pick up the video portion of the program, and then just in case for whatever reason we run into a problem with that, and I have no idea why it continues to go in and out. So if JR needs to, but hopefully it'll settle down, which sometimes it does, folks. It's amazing, the technology, many times tremendous, other times out of nowhere it can cut out, but we're going to continue. And I believe we should be fine right now at 12:08 on this Monday, folks. And this portion of our program is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Remember, locally sourced vegetables, sweet corn, native tomatoes, they have it all. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, Rhode Island's #1 garden center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Pop in and see them. And not only do they have locally sourced vegetables, but screen loom and mulch are available, pickup and delivery. Mulches, dark piney black, hemlock, crushed stone. They are a full-scale nursery and everything you need. Make your home a showstopper. They're open 7 days a week. If you're coming back from the South County beaches, boom, pop in right on Route 4, right off of Route 4, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. And there's nothing like delicious sweet corn, native tomatoes. They have it all. It's at PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, folks, if you check out DePietro.com, which is brought to you by the Cohasset Inn, 226 Cohasset Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Cohasset Inn on DePietro.com. We do have the video up of the feast and the problems that happened in Cranston. That is posted. You can see that now. Also, we have new body cam video in that will be uploaded. That will be on DePietro.com a little bit later this afternoon. Remember, we have links to all of our social media, plus great merchandise in the shop. They're waiting for you right there on DePietro.com. Links to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the everything. And it's right there at DePietro.com. So, folks, as you know, that was pretty big yesterday. I'll tell you something, huge sigh of relief. Mark Halperin of Newsmax, he stated that he believed that his sources were telling them that. And then it did come together yesterday where Biden has stepped aside. Now, I want to be very clear. When I'm saying that Kamala Harris, the VP, that she is the candidate, I want to be very clear about this. I always get confused that do I really have to explain this? But sometimes then when I see various comments, I realize I guess I do have to explain it. I'm not saying I think she should be the nominee. I'm not implying in any way that I would vote for her. I am simply stating, by all accounts, she is making a play to be the candidate. And at this point, on this Monday, I don't see anyone that's making a viable challenge. That doesn't mean, oh, so you want it? No, it doesn't mean I want Harris. I'm telling you what I am looking at now. She is raised. Let's look at why it would be her. And let me be very clear. I think it's a mistake. I think this is very good for President Trump because it's Biden Harris. But she does have a lot of things going for her. Number one, she is the vice president. Number two, it was Biden Harris. Number three, she has been endorsed by President Biden, also the Clintons, and now all these other people are all falling in line. I agree with Senator Joe Manchin, who's saying, well, somebody should challenge. This isn't a process. This isn't in determining who the next person is going to be. It certainly isn't democracy. Whether you agree with him or not, President Biden won the primary. President Biden has all the delegates that he's now going to release. She doesn't have any delegates, but he is working with her to be the candidate. And on top of that, she's not sitting around. This is the moment of opportunity. What you want to do, and that she's doing right now, is raise as much money as possible, get as many endorsements as possible, and try to scare anyone else out of the race. So what does that mean? Well, let's touch on some things. Now, I want to touch on, and again, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I just question how some people arrive, I guess, at their conclusions. For instance, I posted yesterday that President Biden had endorsed Harris. And so, and then we have this person, I'm not trying to embarrass him, but I don't know how, but Hillary's going to run either way. Now, again, I don't know where that is coming from. Hillary's going to run. Well, Hillary just endorsed Kamala Harris. Adriel is the person saying that. I don't know how Hillary's going to be the candidate. Well, Hillary, both Clintons, as a matter of fact, both just endorsed Kamala Harris. So that to me doesn't make sense. And I did respond to that person, right? Hillary just endorsed Harris. So you think she's running. Well, it's a plot twist. Everyone endorsed Biden knowing he wasn't fit for the second term. Harris ain't it. Look at her debate. I'm not. Clinton's still power in D.C. All right. I don't know what that means. And maybe I shouldn't entertain stuff like this. But unless then people fall to, oh, well, behind the curtain, blah, blah, blah. I don't. Hillary is actually going to be running. Everyone endorsed Biden. Well, he was the nominee in 2020, so that's true. But knowing he wasn't fit for the second term, I don't know about that. You didn't see that. I'm not going to, too much, but you didn't see them calling this. Let me be very clear. There's nothing. I know there are a number of people out there. And again, I get everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but there are some people putting it's all going right according to plan. I don't believe that. I don't believe, as far as if you really want to hold on to the power, Kamala Harris her approval ratings she's less popular than Biden. But as of right now again, and I know Miguel can't be the only one. There are some people that are saying Michelle Obama. I just, if that was going to happen, I've already stated, if that was going to happen, I think you would have seen the former First Lady, Michelle Obama. I'm not saying she's not popular. I'm not saying that there aren't people, there'd be a groundswell for some people if she announced. But what's missing is Michelle Obama repeatedly has said, I have no interest in running. So if someone was going to make a play in that form, Michelle Obama, then she certainly hasn't been laying the groundwork, so to speak. So I see no evidence of it. One of the problems that anyone that would want to challenge Vice President Harris has is just the fact that now it becomes, she has the endorsement from Congressional Black Caucus. She's got the endorsement of the Clintons. She's got the endorsement of now all these challengers are all falling in line. Even Commerce Secretary Raimondo is now endorsing her. So many different people are falling in line. So they wouldn't be doing that if they knew, yeah, but wait, at any moment, Hillary or Michelle Obama is going to slide in. Like, I just wonder, at what point does someone say, and I want to stay with the Hillary example, Hillary had her shot in 2016 and she lost. To think now, all right, let me just play out. And again, you can see his comments on the Facebook page. I want to be very clear, folks. If someone's going to take the time to comment, I'm just curious, like, where are you getting this from? Like, where is there someone printing this that I just haven't seen? I'm open to that. You can't see everything. All right, so maybe there is some link of someone credible saying that, but they never share it. They never post. As much as I may say, where are you reading this? Where can I read this? Are you just like making this up as you go along? And then it's not a matter of, I don't know what this means, of when Kamala Harris debated Tulsi Gabbard. There were people that thought Tulsi Gabbard was going to be Trump's VP pick. There were people that thought that Tucker Carlson was going to be the VP pick. But this business of Hillary, what you've seen play out is that the Bidens were not going to go quietly. The Bidens were not going quietly in any way. They needed all of the people behind the scenes that thought that he should step aside. They had to become very vocal, or otherwise, if those people had not been vocal, I don't think Biden steps aside. So Kamala Harris did speak. Um, I am so not a fan. I don't think, they can try to rally all around her, but I also want to, I want people to remember that they were, as of Sunday, they were still rallying around Biden as of yesterday until 24 hours ago, they were all still saying that he was the one. So Harris, in her first remarks since this has happened.
Today, he's feeling much better and recovering fast, and he looks forward to getting back on the road. And I want to just say a few words about our president. Joe Biden's legacy of accomplishment over the past 3 years is unmatched in modern history. In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap. In one term, he has already surpassed the legacy.
They can keep saying that, but in reality, it has not been successful. It has not been a successful presidency. Biden has been having trouble. Let's just be very clear right now at 12:19. You're not talking about someone. He's not enjoying a 10-point lead and he's cruising his way into a second term, right? It's not Reagan against Mondale when Reagan won 49 states. So they can say this all they want. And, Gabe Amo and Seth Magaziner and Sheldon Whitehouse. But the fact of the matter is Biden is leaving and left the race. Now, we don't know the exact reason, but part of it is he's just not up to the job anymore. Folks, this portion of our program on this Monday, and it's brought to you by FenceRI.com. Ron sent me a note. Ron is thinking of getting a new fence and asked me if I could repeat the company that I recommend. And Ron, you want to contact FenceRI.com. You can call them at 401-732-0555. 401-732-0555. FenceRI.com. Find them online at FenceRI.com, the premier fence and deck contractor. Now remember, if you contact them and mention our program, $200 off with FenceRI.com. Wood deck construction, licensed and insured. What are the reasons someone gets a fence? What are the reasons you want to think about having a fence put up? Maybe it is because you have a pool or a hot tub or a tub of some kind that you soak in. Anything with water. Nowadays, you want to be cautious, have proper fencing. Maybe it's you have a new pet fencing. Maybe it's just for privacy or security. FenceRI.com. Again, give them a call at 401-732-0555. And as extra incentive, if you mention our program show, boom, $200 off. There's no company more Rhode Island than FenceRI.com, or call them 401-732-0555. Find them on Facebook. And again, the website is FenceRI.com. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It is pretty amazing. Last weekend was the assassination attempt on President Trump. That took over on a Saturday night. Yesterday, suddenly, boom, was the huge breaking news on Biden. Now, I do want to touch on what this means for Rhode Island. But again, another reminder, though. Someone asked me, let's see, Lisa is going to have a family party. She wants to have her property treated for mosquitoes and asked, who do I recommend? Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe. Go with Joe. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Quality service, residential, commercial, mosquitoes and ticks. Mosquito Joe. I do share their Facebook page, and they have the proper, they can treat your property. Mosquito Joe, or call them 401-426-2032. Well, folks, first of all, a couple of things about Harris. And I like to deal, I don't know if some people are going to say, that somehow the Obamas are going to come into the mix on this. I had mentioned, I had heard this, someone had floated out, maybe President Obama comes in and agrees to be her vice president. And then that would be what would signal Biden to step down. But we're hearing, I mean, it's being reported that the Bidens are very upset the way this whole thing came together, and very upset the way that he was pushed out. So he's very, very upset. And, as I have mentioned, and then other people have mentioned, there's still, as you can imagine, bad blood between, from what I've always heard, is President Biden felt that in 2016, President Obama shoved him out of the way to make room for Hillary. So, but right now, I mean, we'll see what happens at the convention. And then someone said, well, President Obama has not endorsed the vice president. So maybe it's because I don't know what to make of that, other than there is ego involved, there's legacy involved. You had the various people that were trying to push him out and they got him out. But I think the Democrat Party, first of all, they had been fooling themselves leading up to this, that Biden was actually ready for and able to do not only the campaign, but a second term of 4 years. If you step back, probably agreeing and actually proposing, remember, it was the Biden campaign that proposed having the debate. It was the earliest debate in history. No one will make that mistake again. If everything had gone normal course, which was if President Biden had said, yeah, we'll debate him in September, it would have been after the convention. Then it really would have been too late. Or maybe he would have said, yeah, we'll debate him like mid-September or late September. But you won't see again someone agree to debate this early in the season, because that's really what has knocked him out. Now, what does it mean for Rhode Island? I'm going to explain right now. But first, folks, I also want to remind you about Royal Exteriors. Remember, if you need a new roof or for your siding, Royal Exteriors, they're right in Johnston. Call them today, 401-533-9989. Royal Exteriors, you deal directly with the owner. Call for a free estimate. Andrew is so knowledgeable. He's terrific. He's personable. He's easy to work with. Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen. And remember, it begins and ends with the roof. If you don't have proper roofing, a lot of things can go wrong in your home or business. I remember years ago, I worked with someone. This guy, he had terrible roof problems, and it threw off his entire house, actually. He couldn't even enjoy his family room, because when they would get rain, it was then leaking in from snow and ice up that wasn't melting properly on his roof. Royal Exteriors. Are you thinking of getting a new roof? Call today, 401-533-9989. You can also check out their reviews. They're terrific, and you can find them on Facebook as well. It's Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen. So, you have so many of the Rhode Island elected officials that are just penguins at this point, all falling in line, all giving the big endorsement to Harris. But they do so at their own peril. This was the same kind. Now, Governor McKee, I don't believe that he has endorsed. If anything, right now, I think Governor McKee is still on the outside, kind of looking in right now. Other people have all jumped forward. But as of an hour ago, he was the only Democrat governor who had not endorsed Kamala Harris. So he was still, keep in mind, McKee, as of Friday, was still backing Biden. My point is, if they think, someone like Governor McKee, if they think that Biden was still up to the job, then of course they're all just going to follow along with Harris. Vice President Harris, she I mean, this isn't the way it works. This isn't the way, I should say, it works effectively. So you go back to 2008, when at that time it was supposed to be Hillary, right? And a lot of people didn't run. And did Obama wait? No. Obama challenged Hillary and took it from her in 2008. Obama was who the Democrat Party chose. So if he had just fallen in line, Hillary would have been the one that ran against John McCain. The rest of them all didn't run because she was running. So then Obama gets reelected, and then in 2016, Obama says, "All right, now it's Hillary's turn. We're going to pass the baton to Hillary." And what happened? She lost. She wasn't the candidate they all wanted. Afterwards, a lot of things came out and the situation with email. My point is, it never works when they just try to hand the baton off. And as I have said in the past, in 2015 and 2016, President Trump, he fought through challenges and then he became the Republican nominee. This past year, it wasn't as difficult. He ran a very good primary campaign. And then at the time, both Governor Ron DeSantis, Governor Ambassador Nikki Haley, they both seemed like they could be viable candidates. But he beat them off and handily. Right now, if this was truly an open field, for instance, if President Biden had said just as an example, last November, he wasn't going to run for re-election. And then this past year, Iowa, New Hampshire, all would have been the Dems. I'm telling you, Harris is not the nominee. So let them put her up. And now different people are saying, well, we're going to have to wait and see who her VP selection is. The VP choice can hurt you, right? Like Sarah Palin can hurt you. But by and large, it's really the top of the ticket. And Harris doesn't have that. So let them rally around. Let them think that everything is fine. She's terrible off the cuff. She is just the worst with talking points. The vice president her campaigns have been a mess. Her office as vice president was a mess. It's Biden-Harris. Another problem with Biden is he hasn't left. He's still around. He's still going to make mistakes. He's still going to make gaffes. It's still Biden-Harris. He's a problem. So, but to just hand it over to her, I think things look very good for President Trump. And the swing voters, I don't see how people are going to get excited for Harris. So what does that mean? I mean, it just means in our local media and with our local officials, and Massachusetts is essentially the same way. You're going to hear about all this talk and the excitement, and they're all for, and they're all going to go to the convention. But if she was really the top person, then in 2020, she would have emerged as the top person. She wasn't. She wasn't even in, the final three or four, actually. She ran a lousy campaign. She's terrible in the stump. And the thing about a presidential campaign is it's very fluid and it's a lot of things moving. She did not run a good campaign for president. Started out with a big crowd, right? Like in concept, people want her. They want to believe that she's up to it. I'm telling you, she's not up to it. Much like Biden was not up to a second term, Harris is not up to it. So let them go ahead. I think her as the candidate it continues to be good news for President Trump because it's still Biden-Harris. Folks, this portion of our program. So I had a very busy day on Saturday. I was out walking a lot and then very extensive live stream coverage. We started out at the tanker, flipped over on the ramp. Then we were in Providence for the robbery and then ended up at the feast, which was a lot of walking around. And I was looking at the amount of mileage. I had done over 8 miles, close to 9 miles on Saturday. Folks, again, and you can't do that. If I wouldn't be able to do that if I had problems with my feet. You can't. And that's why if you're listening right now or watching and you're having foot pain is not normal, contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist today, 401 949 3220. 949-3220, Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. They're right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Beautiful building, ample parking, state-of-the-art facility. 3 doctors are available, all board-certified podiatrists. It's Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. They take all health insurance. Having foot pain is not normal. I've said, there were people that could barely walk at the Cranston Feast on Saturday. There were people that couldn't run when the gunshots started because their feet were bothering them. I run into people all the time. My feet hurt when I walk a lot. Folks, you can get that treated. Anyone, if that sounds like you or a family member, you got to realize it impacts and negatively affects your quality of life. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. Call today, 401 949 3220. So, whether it is from skin conditions to bunions, hammer toe, they have digital x ray on site. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. Call them today, 401 949 3220. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Someone also asked me if I would recommend a lawn care or tree service company. The answer is yes. JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. I share their Facebook page. Call them 401-441-0154. Yes, I do recommend someone. JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. So that's it. Harris is the VP. This is hardly democracy. I mean, Biden, if he wanted to, Biden won the primary, regardless of what you think of him. He won the primary. He has the delegates. He doesn't have to do this. Now, if something happened that we're unaware of, that's a different story. But how is it a, quote, democracy if all of these people that voted for President Biden in the primary, their vote doesn't matter? Nope, the party bigwigs get together and then they just start a campaign to force someone out of the race. What's also interesting is you want to talk about arrogance and how the Democrat Party views an election. Well, we have to switch candidates because right now this looks like he might lose to President Trump. Well, he may win. So notice the Democrat Party, they have no interest in an election where they might lose. It's like it's got to be an automatic. It has to be like a layup. They have no interest in, we're going to put our best candidate forward and we're going to have them go through the process and hopefully they're going to have success come election day. It's as if the Democrat Party has no interest in what should be normal in an election, which is you can lose, right? Can you imagine a team that they have no interest in participating in a game that they may lose? It's almost like the casino. Like if it's not rigged, we have no interest in it, right? It's almost like the house. We're not playing unless we're going to win. Unless we're going to win, then we're going to rework things so we can win. That's the democracy. There were people out there, if you're a Biden supporter, I just don't know how they go along with that. And of all people, they're trying to say she has to earn it and that type of process. What's being earned? This is a coronation. They immediately say the vice president is a woman of color, be the first woman of color to run for president. But if anybody else wants to throw in it, so if there's any racist that wants to step forward and challenge her, who would do that? Even Raimondo, who's ambitious, she falls in line. Probably first came away with a good speaking role at the DNC. The Democrat convention that's happening next month in Chicago. They're all falling in line. I would think right now, this is how I interpret that, though. And that is that people that have, and there are people that have ambition, those that have their eye on 2020, they just, if it's to me right now, if it's Gavin Newsom or the governor of California or Gina Raimondo or, this governor of Pennsylvania, this Josh Shapiro, I don't know that much about him. But people like that, their names are being tossed out. I believe the reason why a number of them are not going to challenge her is because they already see this as a lost cause, that it's too late in the game. Never mind, now she's got to pick a running mate. And folks, it's never easy. There's a huge difference of if you get vetted for vice president, potential vice president, or you just vetted for, a typical, you're going to be in the Senate. That's more of then their, it's up to the voters, or it's up to the media, or it's up to the opponent of the person to kind of vet them. Very, very different when someone is being vetted for the position of vice president. Now, one thing about Harris is she's already been vetted. So she's kind of in the clear. But if these people, like what does it say about the Rhode Island leaders? Matos, Magaziner, Amo, what does it say that without any type of process, without any type of convention, without any type of let's see who else is out there, that they immediately all fall in line that Harris is going to be their person? Now, folks, what this really means is if you have people like Gavin Newsom, and regardless what people think, she is ambitious, though, Commerce Secretary, former Governor Gina Raimondo, who definitely, those are two individuals that envision, potentially going for the White House. And I want to be very clear. I'm not saying I would vote for them. I'm not saying I would support that. I'm not saying they could win. But they certainly have been mentioned as people that might possibly. The fact that they're all falling in line tells me that maybe they just feel it's not worth it. Like whoever you put up, they're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're almost resigned to the fact that it's going to be President Trump, J.D. Vance, and then they start looking ahead to 28. So then they take Newsom continues to be the governor of California. Someone like Raimondo, whatever. She'll give speeches. She will consult. You become a consultant. That's kind of a way to get different companies can give you large amounts of money because you're consulting them. It's almost like an unregulated form of payola in a sense. But I think they just bide their time. Now, it seems like a long way off. But if you're going to run for president, okay, so you take a year off, but then in 26, you start giving some speeches, you start meeting with some donors, putting your operation together. It's a big task. It's a big task. It's not as if President Trump just arrived on the scene. You could argue that the Trump campaign has really been in motion now for like 2 years at least. So it sounds like a long time, but I believe a number of them are just saying this one's lost. And to me, it's now, and they'll let Harris go through, let her lose. Then she had her shot, get her out of the way. I think they view it as Biden was going to lose, so now Harris is going to lose. And I don't think it matters with the VP pick. I don't think so, because she's still the top of the ticket. The problem for the Democrat Party, Joe Manchin's not wrong, by the way. The problem for the Democrat Party is Biden-Harris. And the problem they have right now is Biden's still president. Now Harris is the candidate. So they're not popular. They're not going to win over swing voters. We'll know in the next 30. I think this really ensures President Trump and J.D. Vance take the White House. Folks, this portion of the program, if you're thinking, and now I also want to tell you what I think it means for the state. If you're thinking of a new kitchen, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen, as you're listening on this Monday, maybe you've been thinking of a new kitchen. Maybe you're thinking of remodeling your bathroom. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Call them today, 401-433-7272. They're right on Greenwich Avenue in Warwick, right near Crown Plaza, near Kochai. They have a state-of-the-art design center. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. They take you from concept to completion. Again, phenomenal work, state-of-the-art. Remember, their codes of value: respect, integrity, and customer focus. Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Experience upgraded living with your bath and kitchen remodel today. Give them a call. You're going to want to stop by their state-of-the-art design center right there on Greenwich Avenue in Warwick, or call them 401-433-7272 for Dreammaker. Now, other big news on this Monday is the head of the Secret Service did testify in Washington. And by all accounts, she was, and rightfully so, by the way, just getting absolutely pummeled by the congressional hearing, and that Kimberly Cheadle. So the fact that she's trying to argue, she was shown footage of the Trump rally goers pointing to the shooter on the roof. And then she tries to explain that they weren't aware that was a threat to President Trump. I mean, wasn't aware that would be a threat. I also want to get into when they were questioning her about, do you know what the head of the Secret Service did after Reagan was shot? Let me hear this.
Would you agree that this is the most serious security lapse since President Reagan was shot in 1981 of the Secret Service?
Yes, sir, I would.
And, do you know what Stuart Knight did when he was in charge at the time of the Secret Service? You know what he did afterwards?
He remained on duty.
He resigned.
Yeah, she wishes that he had stayed on duty. No, he resigned. He resigned. It's as if she couldn't answer any type of questions. And Jim Comer, you know what I find, folks, at 12:45? What I find the most frightening is, and it's something, I don't know, you don't have video, regardless of, and I know people think different things would happen to Kennedy, but you don't have Oswald on film. There's definitely some odd things that happen with the Kennedy assassination. But for instance, when President Reagan was shot, I think there could be video of Hinckley suddenly on the sidewalk and then the Secret Service agents. But I think the most frightening video is the gunman on the roof at the Trump rally. And the people pointing out, there he is. And he's maneuvering with the weapon on the roof. It's so frightening when you think about it. It is, I mean, we see instances in video of a police altercation and then someone, getting shot. And you see video of people hunting. But it was just, it's so odd and struck me that way. That video, like all those people gathered to hear President Trump, a former president, who's also the Republican nominee. And it's just so bizarre to see there's someone on the roof. He's not demanding money. This isn't a robbery. He had never met President Trump. He'll forever now be in history, but someone that traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to go, meaning in his mind, I'm going to go and I'm going to shoot and take out. Like, it's obviously a form of terrorism, but I don't know. I think they should show that more. It's so creepy. I feel terrible for the rally goers that were trying to get the police attention on that. But to see him, they know he's up on the roof. They know he has a weapon, and he's like squirming around, trying to get in position. He wasn't there saying, I'm demanding, $10 million or I'm going to shoot. He'd never met him. He hadn't been fired. He purposely went to try to assassinate the president and came so close to it. And this woman is then in Washington and just feels what? She walks away by saying it was the biggest lapse. I find it very chilling and disturbing. I do. And what's worse are some of the individuals that then were trying to make light of it. When you see that, he wasn't hunting. He was in a sense, but just that goes into the mindset, right? He lived nearby. This is my chance. Someone very significant in history, I'm probably never going to have this opportunity again, is going to come past close to where I live. I'm going to go and I'm going to take that person. Like, it's so evil and twisted. That video, and by the way, the video of him up on the roof, it's not graphic. There's nothing gory about it. He's not firing the weapon. He's just getting himself in position to do it. I find it so unsettling and disturbing. Now, I want to tell you what's at stake regarding Harris and the Rhode Island officials. There was a good story in the Boston Globe that talked about how Biden had long ties to Massachusetts. President Biden was at, Logan Airport. President Biden was very, very friendly with Senator Kennedy from Massachusetts. President Biden was, had been to Massachusetts at different times. Harris is different. Harris is, and Rhode Island falls into this category. All bets are off with Harris. Anyone that thinks maybe the reason why Governor McKee, I don't know this, but maybe one of the reasons he's holding back his endorsement is he actually thinks he could leverage the bridge for the endorsement. It's possible, but Governor McKee has not come out and endorsed Harris. And I wonder if it is because he wants them to reach out and what can we do to get you on board before he just, plucks his chips down. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by J. Perry Paving. So on this Monday, if you've been thinking of that maybe it's time to get your driveway paved, call J. Perry Paving today, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730, letter J, J. Perry Paving. Licensed and insured, high quality, fair pricing, whether it's your driveway or maybe it's your parking lot. 20 years experience, specialized commercial paving, residential paving, seal coating, patios, letter J, J. Perry Paving. Call today, free estimate, 401-732-1730 for J. Perry Paving. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. I think that Governor McKee, I also want to remind people that a problem for President Biden and his decision to step down is, listen, the Afghanistan withdrawal was a disaster. And then all the service people that lost their lives coming home at Andrews, that was, that was a crisis situation and PR disaster for the Biden administration. However, after a period of time, like everything else, they kind of settled the ship, and then he just continued along, right? Like it didn't stay and continue to be in the news, is my point. It was in the news, and it was very prominent in the news, and it was a damaging story. I think you could even argue that he never really recovered from that. However, other stories came into play, and then, the news cycle, it did move on. The problem with President Biden and the age thing is it's not going away. If anything, he's getting older. And the video of him with COVID just, last week, and then coming off the plane, and he can barely get into the SUV, his aging it's not going to slow down. It's not going to stop. It's not going to get better. Now, the reason I mentioned Governor McKee, and by the way, on the radio show next hour, you can hear Politics This Week with Justin Katz, managing editor, anchorrising.com. A problem for Biden, that for McKee, as I see it, is with McKee, the bridge is not going to get better. The bridge could actually get worse. The bridge could get worse. The bridge situation. He owns it now. Governor McKee's been getting crushed in approval rating, and rightfully so, the way they have mishandled it. But Governor McKee, 1 year from now, it'll be July of 2025, and he's still going to have a problem with the bridge. And for Governor McKee, 2 years from now, July of 26, is he going to have the bridge resolved? No, he is not. They don't even have someone right now that wants to rebuild it. So I think it's not about today, and it's not necessarily about tomorrow. It's more of, what about a month from now? What about 3 months from now? What about 6 months from now? If you're Governor McKee, and in the East Bay, your approval rating is 19%, what possibly could get him over 40%? I don't think there is anything. If you're Governor McKee and you have statewide 29% approval rating, what could happen over the next 6 months to a year that could bump you into the 40s, right? I mean, there are governors who have 60% approval rating. Governor McKee statewide is 29. The thing is, there's nothing. So as Governor McKee is seeing Biden throwing in the towel, as much as now Governor McKee, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, is not up for re-election again until if he's going to be primaried, which he is, will be September of 26. So it may seem like a long time, right? He's got 2 years to turn it around. But in reality, the situation could actually get worse, because a Trump administration, they could come in and say, no, we're not funding that. They would be well within their rights, Trump administration, to say to Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, we already gave you the money. You already got the money for the bridge. If you didn't maintain it properly, if you blew through the money, if you paid people off, if you screwed things up, with that's not our problem. That's your problem. And so I think, as he is eyeing this, he's not going to admit this to anybody, but his situation is not going to improve. What could Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee do over the next 6 months that would improve his stand? Nothing. As I said, the problem with the bridge could actually get worse. Folks, this portion of the program, if you're thinking of any type of home improvement, contact AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement today. 401-323-9252. Remember, they can do frame-to-finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They can do it all. You want to add on to your home? Call AJ. You want to improve your business? Call AJ, Home Improvement Today, 401 323 9252, 401 323 9252. AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. You can listen online at our website, depetro.com. So, today and over the next couple of weeks, let them, the Democrat Party, they're going to rally around Kamala Harris, and then she's supposedly going to pick a running mate. Now, the Chicago convention, let's do the math now, begins in Chicago on August 19th. So next Monday is the 29th. Then it's the 5th. Then it's the 12th. And then it's the 19th. So it starts in 1, 2, 3, and 4 weeks from today. They will be in Chicago. You're going to have the protesters of Free Palestine. You're going to have continued infighting. I think President Trump and J.D. Vance just continue down the path. Keep playing for the undecideds. That was a united convention. I think they're in very, very good shape. I think Rhode Island, let them pretend that they think Harris is great. Harris is not the right person for the job. She's going to be their candidate. Her approval ratings are actually worse than Biden. I think they would have been better to stick with Biden, but they wanted to force him out of the race. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. Next hour on the radio portion, Politics This Week with Justin Katz. All right, stay tuned for the 1 o'clock news. We'll be back on the other side, Facebook Live later, back on the other side. Much more to go with the John DePetro Show.